When you take a look at this world, it seems like it's on fire and dangerous. When you read a newspaper or watch the news on television, there are a lot of things that can make you sad or make you lose your faith in the future. But that's just one way to see it. This is how I see it. I see a world full of resilient people. People who are able to cope with the facts of life and change this world for the better, despite the sadness and mistakes all around us. I see people who live joyfully, take on challenges, and develop themselves every day. It doesn't mean their life is free from badness, but they found an ability to deal with it and get stronger because of it. And I believe there's a way to increase that strength for all of you, and that is to learn the formula of resilience. And the formula of resilience is not based on science. No, it's based on personal stories, and the elements are coming directly from the practices of life. And I would like to share this formula with you. And the formula of resilience contains 3 elements. And the first element is motivation. Find out what motivates you and what keeps you going. What are your values of life? And values can arise in different ways. And I will tell you how it went for me. When I was 12 years old, my mother told me that the father who raised me was not my biological father. She told me that my biological father had left her when she was pregnant of me. And maybe you can imagine that it was a message with a lot of impact for a 12-year-old boy. And until this day, I have never met my father or even spoke to him. In fact, he's ignoring my existence. And maybe that's fine, because I'm happy and I'm living a good life. But it's interesting to see that since my youth, my life is full of competition and extreme events. I served by the Special Forces. I took on expeditions. I climbed mountains. I crossed Siberia by bike on my own for more than 4,000 miles. I walked through the Gobi Desert within 40 days. And I even ran a marathon on the geographic North Pole. And you must know, I hate running. It was terrible. So that was my first marathon ever, and also my last one. But I found out that in all of these elements, of all of these events, it was not just the search for adventure that drove me, or the search for physical and mental boundaries. No, there was something else. It was a way to prove my existence. There was, and there is, a need for recognition in my life. And you see it in different aspects. And recognition became one of my values. But I don't see it as a heavy load. My value is my power to achieve things, and it gives me the opportunity to inspire other people. So finding out what motivates you and turn this motivation then in added value for yourself and other people is the first step to resilience. And that brings us to the second element of the formula. Persistence. Persistence to hold on when things are tough. Persistence is your lifeline. And persistence is also about discipline, about doing simple things in an extraordinary way. Discipline to keep your word and stay close to your values. Last year, I had the honor to climb a mountain with disabled people. People in wheelchairs, people who were blind, and others paralyzed. And when I was leading that incredible expedition in Norway, I saw the determination in the eyes of a fantastic team. A group of 15 beautiful people who had a strong will to reach the top of the mountain. And I was familiar with one of the team members, as he was my former colleague in the army more than 20 years ago. And we served together in former Yugoslavia during the war. And there he was hit by a missile. And that missile got him seriously injured, blind, and paralyzed. And now, many years later, we were on a mountain where he was pushed and pulled by 3 strong men over rocks and steep paths. And during a short break, halfway the mountain, I saw the pain on his face. And I asked him how he felt. And he heard my voice, and he raised his head, and he smiled, and he said, "Don't worry about me, I'm feeling alive again." And everybody had a reason to be in that mountain. And I saw a persistence that I have never seen before. And I'm sure you have your own stories. Think about it. You have your own examples. And it's now up to you to collect these stories and learn from them. And that brings us to the final element of the formula of resilience, and this is a crucial one. Who's responsible for this? There should be a letter on this paper. Okay. Take your responsibility at all times. And responsibility is the third and last element of the formula of resilience. Because imagine what will happen if you had a lot of motivation to achieve your goals with a big amount of persistence, but without any kind of responsibility. It will probably get you into big trouble. Let me give you a crazy example. That you're very motivated to eat bananas all day long. And you have a lot of persistence to do that. Without taking responsibility for your health, you probably end up sick. Or how about drinking alcohol? Or using drugs? Cheating? Or working too hard? When you are responsible, you are able to look in the mirror at all times and be honest with yourself. So stop being a prisoner of your own thoughts and take responsibility for what's happening in your life. It doesn't mean you always be strong, but you see things in perspective. When things are hard, imagine that you fly to the moon and take a look at your life on Earth. What sort of feedback would you give yourself? And from there, take the lead and make decisions. Because when you're doing something, always something is changing. You will have the responsibility to look after yourself, to protect your values, and to look after people who are close to you. And so here we have the formula of resilience, and it says resilience is motivation plus persistence plus responsibility. And the best part is that you can actually learn this. And I see you thinking, yeah, that's easy to say, and maybe it is. But we all know that we cannot change our past, but we can influence our future. And when we talk about our future, then we talk about our children. So why not teach our kids at school, besides all important issues, this simple formula? Maybe in this audience, there are people who gave a lot. And maybe your life is heading a different direction than you thought it would be. And maybe you had to cope with pain and unhappiness. But you are here, having a good day, trying to see perspective and believe in good days. And that's why I see happy people. That's why I see people who develop themselves every day. And that's why I see people who are able to cope with the facts of life no matter what. Finding out what motivates you, what keeps you going, and where your responsibility lies will give you resilience. And that knowledge will make a huge difference in your life and in the world. Because this world, it seems like it's on fire and dangerous. But that's just one way to see it. Let's teach our children the lessons of resilience, and we will learn from them how to apply the formula in a world that belongs to them. And the effect will be that we will be able to increase our happiness and strength day by day. Thank you.